All right, so this week you guys are covering communication, and we're also going to cover communication next week as well. So I'm going to go over some communication tips because effective communication is really just important throughout your college career, but also just in life in general. So I'm going to go over the three most common communication interactions you're going to have in the college environment. So that's going to be email, it's going to be group projects and group work, and then public speaking. So email. So email is most commonly used in colleges as well as in the workplace for any kind of communication, whether it's this is a project you need to work on, quick questions that people have, anything like that. Um, I know I've heard from people younger than me saying that, well, email's for older people or email's not, I don't use email. I get that, but the reality is that email is the way that your professors, the school in general, is going to communicate with you about really anything. Um, and that's mainly what's used in the workplace. So it's a lot easier to get into the habit now of checking your email, getting used to it. Excuse me. That way, when you do get into the work environment, you've kind of already got that habit down. At Lone Star College, you can send emails through Outlook or D2L. We're going to cover both of them, so that way you know where to find them. So some tips for email. I would recommend checking your email at least once a day during the work week. So that means at least once per day, Monday through Friday. Open up your email, check it, go through it. And by check it, I don't mean just open it and then close it again. I mean open it, go through the emails, click on them, read them. So that way you can see what's going on the campus. You can make sure you're getting all the information. Make sure there's not any like, hey, you need to do this thing, like that. I would wait at least, so if you're sending an email, I would wait at least 24 hours for a response. Um, a lot of your professors teach a lot of classes, your advisors, other staff members, like we have a lot of other work responsibilities that we're doing throughout the day. So we can't always respond to your emails immediately. So wait at least 24 hours for those of us to get back to you. If it's been 24 hours and you still haven't heard anything, go ahead and send a follow-up email just to kind of check in. That being also said, a lot of faculty and staff don't check their email over the weekend for a variety of reasons. So that means if you send an email on a Friday night, it may not be seen until Monday morning. So keep that in mind. It's going to be kind of professor dependent. Some professors do check their email over the weekend, but just be aware that you're not, if you are sending something over the weekend, make sure it's not something super, super urgent, or that it's okay if it's not seen until Monday morning, because a lot of people won't see it until that Monday morning. So where do we find your email? So your email can be found in two different places. So the first place is your My Lone Star. So if you log into your My Lone Star, you're going to see all of these tiles here. And then you're going to have one that says, yours is going to say student email, mine obviously says employee email, but this is going to be the tile that's going to say student email. Click it, it's going to pop open with a new tab. It will probably make you log in again. Yes, it's frustrating, we all know that. But go ahead, log in, and that's going to be what we call your Outlook email, or Microsoft 365. It's the same thing. And you can access your email that way. The other way you can access your Outlook email is through your D2L. So when you log into D2L before you click on any courses, right, this is the landing page. So if you look under your courses on the right hand side here, it's going to have a little tab that says Microsoft 365. And then you can have, if you click the icon here, it'll open up your email in another tab. So that way you can check your email there. So how do I write an effective email? So you pop open this message, we're gonna go over the different parts. So to start with, two is basically whoever you're sending it to. So if you're your professor, they're gonna go here. Advisor, tutor, whomever you're emailing, it's gonna go here. For your subject, make sure it's short. Do not put your question in the title or the subject line. Sometimes it gets cut off, and we don't, because there's a limit on the number of words in that. Sometimes it gets cut off, and we don't see the full thing. So make sure it just kind of basically a short summary of what your body is. So like if you have a test question, just put test question there, or an advising question or whatever it is you're trying to figure out. Make sure it's short. relevant. The other thing to keep in mind is if you're emailing your professor, to make sure you put your class and section number in this subject line, because that will help them with responding to y'all. Here's where your body of your email is. Any questions, any comments, everything else is going to go into this little area here. Now, sometimes I get questions about, well, what are these two things off to the side? You probably won't use these too much in college, but I'm just going to go briefly over them. So CC just means you're adding people to the email. Usually they don't need to respond to the email. It's more of just like, hey, this is what's going on. So for example, if I'm sending an email to one of my coworkers, I might CC another coworker who knows what's going on. They don't necessarily, I don't need a response from them, but they just need to be made aware. So that's where that goes. BCC is the same thing. The only difference is that the people you're sending emails to, you put them in the BCC, can't see who else is being sent to. So for example, sorry, hang on a second. Sorry, my dog was barking. She has a beef with another dog at my complex, so she was barking. So for example, BCC would be used, for example, I use it when I send out emails to y'all for on Tuesdays about whatever. And it basically, it looks like it's just coming to you, but it's actually going to all the students. It kind of hides everyone else's emails in case someone doesn't want their email being shared. Like I said, these you probably won't use too much in college. It's just more just informational. So here, for emailing your professor, specifically your professor, it's kind of the same thing. Subject, a brief title about what it's about, you know, they have a test question, I'm going to be out on Tuesday, whatever you're talking about. Like I said, please include your class. Please include the class and the section. Your professors teach a lot of classes. Sometimes they teach multiple sections of the same class. So that way, when they get this email, they can immediately see, oh, it's for this class and for this section, and kind of orients them a lot better. And you're going to get a quicker response for your email, because then they don't have to look up and see, well, what class are you in? What are they covering? What, like, they kind of immediately know, okay, I'm oriented about any questions that you may have for that. Same thing, your body is any questions, concerns, comments, whatever you're going there. For signing off, please use your first and last name. There are a lot of people with the same first name, so please make sure you include your last name. That way you're easier to find. This is really important too if you're emailing like advisors or financial aid or anyone who's like having to look you up. It's a lot easier to have all that information right there. That also includes your ID number. If you have your first name, your last name, ID number all there, there's not any back and forth that needs to happen about like, well, now I need this. Like, it's all right there for them. So an example of an email to professor would be this one. So this is an email I wrote to one of my professors. You can see I put, like I said, I put the class number up here. I do not have the section because this was the only section offered, so I didn't need to add that. And then I have a brief title, so exit exam. So that way my professor, when she sees this in her inbox, she can go, okay, it's for this class, it's about the exit exam. So she already knows kind of what to orient herself to just before even opening up the email. You can see my professor's email here. I've got good morning. Then I've got my body here. So right, I've got like, I'm a little confused about the exit exam. When are we supposed to have to select topics by, and when will the exam be held? So I've got all that there, and then I've got like thank you, and you can see I have my first and last name. That way she can easily find me in her class if she needs to look something up. And I also have my ID number here, just in case that she needed it for some reason. So this would be a good example of how to email your professor. So email in D2L, like I said, you can also send emails through D2L. I'm going to walk you guys through this step by step because it is a little more complicated than kind of Outlook. So you're going to log into D2L and you're going to select the course for whoever that you want to email in. So you can see I'm in the course that I want to send the email through. You're going to click on this collaboration button. It's toward the right hand side, and it's going to come down with a drop down menu, and you're going to select class list right here. It's going to pop up with this new page. It's going to list everybody in the course. So basically your classmates, your professors, tutors, advisors, whoever is in the course is going to be listed there. So to email them, you're going to select email class list. On the bottom, it's going to pop up, on the bottom of your computer screen, it's going to pop up with this little thing. So you're going to select send email. I know you haven't written anything, you're going to select it anyway. It's going to pop open with a new window here, and it's going to have everybody's email selected here. Now, if you don't want to email everybody in the class, you're like, well, I only want to email a select few people, that's okay. To remove people, you're just going to hit the X right next to their name. So go through. If you don't want to email everyone, go ahead and remove whoever you don't want to send the email to. It'll leave whoever's left. You're going to scroll down to the bottom, and this here is where you got your subject line. I would recommend rewriting the title. You can leave the EDUC 1300, the section number, but I would go ahead and erase the One Learning Framework First Year Experience, because that's just the title of the course. And I would put in your title of what, So for example, if you're emailing group members about a group project, just put, group project or something like that. So that way whoever is receiving it kind of has a better idea of what you're going to be talking about in email. And the same thing here, we have write out your message. There's a lot of different formatting options if you want to get super fancy with it. And then you're going to click send. So then, where do your emails end up? So any emails sent through D2L are going to end up in your Outlook. Excuse me. So you're going to come here and you're going to see, you can see I have a regular email here, another regular email here, but here, this is a D2L email that I sent or got. D2L will also send you a copy of any email you send as well, just be aware, but it's going to be in your Outlook, so that's where you're going to find it. You can also respond to these directly through Outlook, so you don't have to go back to D2L. You can go ahead and respond to them directly here. All right, the next big thing, group projects. So group projects are things that a lot of people hate, students and professors alike, but they are a fact of college and a fact of life, unfortunately, or fortunately, depending on your viewpoint. A lot of classes have some sort of group project. Some classes have group work, so like a lot of your labs, you're working with lab partners or a lab group throughout the entire semester. Having effective communication will make things a lot easier, it will run so much more smoothly, and it will make things way less stressful. So some tips that I would give for working in a group project is have regular check-ins with your group members. They can be as formal as setting up a meeting time, meeting in person, and going through things, or it can be as simple as just a text of like, hey, just want to check in to see where everyone's at with whatever parts you guys are working on. I would also assign tasks and roles to each group member. So give everyone a separate role, make sure everyone has a separate task that they can do. If anyone is confused or if you're confused about something as you're working through the project, whatever that is, reach out to your group members for clarification. Be like, I'm confused about X, Y, and Z, and have that discussion with them. That way they can get any clarification. And if you guys are all confused or you need some help mediating something, go ahead and reach out to your professor, and they can give you either some strategies for working on the project or help you clarify anything, and sometimes they may be able to help mediate whatever you're working on. Now, the biggest complaint is a lot of the like, well, someone isn't doing their part or someone's not helping, and I want to make sure my grade isn't going to be brought down by that. That is, number one, a very fair concern. A lot of your professors are aware of that, so go ahead and reach out to your professor and let them know what's going on. Some of your professors will keep that in mind when it comes to grading the project of who actually did the work versus who didn't do the work. So go ahead and reach out to them just so that they know what's going on. So I have the same tips here, but I've kind of oriented them into like the process of start to finish for the group project. So like first step, when you're assigned a project, I would say sit down with your group, look over the assignment together all at once, so that way you guys can clarify any questions, you can all see the different parts involved, and then kind of start assigning tasks and roles. Someone who's the leader that's kind of herding everybody and making sure everything's getting done. Who's, if there's a presentation, who's putting it together, what parts are people doing, kind of hash that out a bit there. Then, as you're working throughout the group project, set regular check-ins. You can set them on your first, you can have like a set date that you check things in. And like I said, it can be something as simple as texting someone. You can do it in person, email, however, whatever works for y'all. Just make sure you guys are checking in, because checking in guarantees that you're at least trying to communicate with each other. If any questions pop up, clarify the questions, meet up again to make sure that everyone knows what's going on. And then this is the part where if someone isn't participating, this is when you reach out to your professor. Be like, hey, this is what's going on. Last step, obviously, is putting the final project together, turning it in, presenting it, however that's done. This is one of my favorite memes. Group projects make me understand why Batman wants to work alone, because we all understand and feel that. So I feel that. So I have an example. So I'm going to use the Black Widow movie as an example of a group project. So in the Black Widow movie, they needed to take down what they call the Red Room. So we're going to say that that's kind of their project that they were assigned, right? Their project is to take down the Red Room. So the characters that we have are Black Widow, Yelena, Melina, and the Red Guardian. So how are they supposed to work together to kind of solve the problem? How are they supposed to work together to take down the Red Room? So we're going to use that same process that I introduced before to kind of go over. So first, we're going to look over the assignment. So the assignment is take down the Red Room. We're going to hash out all the different parts that need to happen, right? Like, we need to free some widows. We need to take down Dreykov. We need to actually physically take down the Red Room. So we need to assign roles and tasks, people that understand that they're doing this role, someone else is doing that role, right? So Black Widow is assigned to take out Dreykov. Yelena was designated to free the other widows. Melina is to disable the engines. And the Red Guardians take out any soldiers. So everyone has their tasks, they have their roles, they know what they're doing. So as we're working through this group project, they're working down Take the Red Room. It comes out that Red Guardian has some questions about what's going on because he didn't know the full plan. So Melina clarifies those questions to him. Melina also clarifies some questions to Yelena that come up. They also have a regular check-ins. So like Melina and Yelena regularly communicate with each other, kind of where they are, where they're at, what their status is. And the same thing with Red Guardian and Melina. They also give each other updates regularly about like where they are, what next steps, who's covering, who's back. So there's always this communication going on that everyone knows what's going on and what steps are next. So in the end, basically the project is now complete, right? They destroyed the Red Room, Dreykov is killed, the widows have been freed, so we've completed our group project. So this is a quick example to show you kind of how it can work effectively and some best tips for that. So the last thing we're going to cover is presenting and public speaking. So it's a bane of every student's assignment. So some classes require presentations, right? You have a PowerPoint presentation to put together. You have to present it to the class. If you're taking a speech class, usually you have to present speeches. And a lot of people find this incredibly stressful, right? They're like, well, I'm going to blink during the presentation, or I'm going to forget to hit all the points. I'm going to be overly judged by my peers or my professor. And sometimes it's just general nerves of being kind of, heart pounding, sweaty, kind of that. So I have some tips here to kind of practice out. So before and during your presentation. So before, as you're kind of working out your presentation or speech, is to practice, practice, practice. Go through it from start to finish. That can be simply as sitting at your desk and just kind of running through it. It can be talking to the wall. It can be talking to your dog. My dog has heard quite a few presentations over the years. But just practice it. Go through it. Now, I don't mean memorize it word for word, but just practice. The more comfortable you get with the material and talking about it, the more comfortable you are going to be actually presenting it. And you can try running it in front of family or friends if you want some feedback, or if you're a little nervous about having an audience. This is a really great way of kind of practicing, right? Like friends and family are people you're comfortable around, so go ahead and kind of run it in front of them. Now, right before you give your presentation, so you're in class, you're the next one up, go ahead and take a few deep breaths. This will help calm and relax your nerves before going into it. Now, during your presentation, have notes handy. Notes are totally fine, right? If you're giving a speech, you have your index cards, go ahead and refer to them. You are not expected to have your entire thing memorized. Same thing with the PowerPoint presentation. Go ahead and look and reference what's on the PowerPoint. You'll notice that your professors do the same thing, and that's what they're doing. They're referencing, okay, where did I leave off? What haven't I covered yet? Oh, I have to hit that point, is what they're doing when they're referring to their PowerPoint. And you'll notice also as well, like anyone who has gives really good speeches, they always refer to their notes that they have with them. That's okay. Now, if you get nervous and you need, I just need to take a deep breath, that's okay. Take a pause, take a deep breath, and then kind of reorient yourself. It's going to appear very normal to your audience. It's not weird. It just seems like a normal pause. No one is expecting you to have everything memorized. These kind of tend to help just really calming, kind of recentering and reorienting yourself. Now, for all of these communication things, whether it's email, whether it's public speaking, or working on a group project, is really just practicing it. The more you do it, the more comfortable you're going to get with it. And that's true for all of these, right? The more emails you send to people, the more comfortable you're going to get, like writing out an email, what to put in it. The more you do group projects, you're going to feel more comfortable like assigning roles and figuring out who does what and talking with people. And you've probably heard this a lot before too, but practicing and doing a lot more presentations, you're just going to get more and more comfortable with it. So this is Matt Murdock, aka Daredevil, and he is known for some of his fantastic speeches that he gives throughout his show. So if you practice and practice, then you can be just as good as him. So hopefully you found some of these tips helpful. Maybe you can pick just one tip to try out, or one thing to practice on, and hopefully you'll find that a lot better or more helpful. My words are all gone now. For trying out and hopefully having better and more effective communication.